Assalamu alaikum and hi everyone. I hope you all are doing great. I'm back with another inspirational yet very compelling story. I never met her with her in person, but I believe now that the way she inspired me will definitely bring hope and positivity to your life. When I think about her journey, the whole incident, I feel emotionally frozen. How can anyone be so strong and happy again? I thought that we complain about little problems in our life, but we never try to resolve that problems and never try to start again. Hence, in my personal experience, and after getting to know more about Suzanne, I came to know that only courageous one can endure the harshness of life, and she's one of them. Yes, I'm talking about Suzanne Barry. She's a physically challenged person from Australia. She's an artist and writer now. I'll tell you briefly about her journey, and the rest you can all listen when she talks about her journey. So, what happened to her? 11 years ago, she fell down from the 3-story balcony and due to sudden convulsions of epileptic seizure. Seizure is a sudden electric shock in your brain and brain becomes scrambled. It can make you stiffen your muscles, your legs, your arms, and you fell down. She will explain better in detail, but in this incident, she got her spinal cord injury. She shattered her 7 vertebrae. She got her left side ribs fractured, one of her rib went into her liver and another one into her lungs. Her left hip and legs broke down as well. She got a replacement of her rib and femur and acquired 4 brain injuries. Oh my God. She's really an iron lady. She's so powerful. I'm just speechless. So without wasting any single moment, let's add Suzanne here and welcome. Hi Suzanne, welcome.
Hi Ramel, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for joining us. I was talking about the journey and I told my audience that I feel emotionally frozen because it's not easy to be strong all of the time, but you are too strong. Thank you for joining. Welcome here.
My pleasure. I'm not always completely strong, but I have faith in God and I'm very grateful to be alive. So I'm very grateful I survived an accident and my life is so much better these days than it was before my accident. So got nothing to complain about, so it's easy to smile through everything with that in mind.
Okay, thank you. And first of all, congratulations for your book launch. I know your both books are available on Amazon now. And I'll tell my audience that kindly visit her website, www.suzannebarryart.com. So you can see her art and activities, all kind of things you can find on her website. Suzanne, I would say it's not easy for any girl or a woman to be as strong as she was before any incident or accident. On the other side, it's not easy to let things go. So tell us something about yourself before this incident. Who was Suzanne? What was her overall life? What was your vision in life?
Okay, so at the time of my accident, I was actually getting divorced. I had left my husband. I didn't have a very good marriage. So I had left my husband and I was very mentally unwell. I had both anorexia and delusion and psychosis from a traumatic PTSD experience. So I was actually mentally very unwell. So I had a lot of hospital time in mental health injuries, mental health unit, being treated. I was very highly medicated and I wasn't eating and I was just not healthy enough to really look after myself. So when I actually had my accident, I was painting an art exhibition. I was not focused on my health. When I woke up 3 months later from a coma, I didn't remember that I was anorexic. I'd lost my memories. I didn't remember most of the things about myself. I didn't remember my name. I didn't remember the alphabet. And I didn't remember all of my suffering. And I still don't have all of that back today. So I'm very grateful in many respects for my accident for taking away some of my horrible memories. I did have to rebuild my brain though, and I'm back to full capacity, and I have been for many years, and I did win that in court. I actually had to fight my family in court to overturn my guardianship. My mother actually said to me on Christmas Day, she goes, "Your story's a bit Britney Spears, isn't it, Suzanne? We sort of did that to you, didn't we?" And I'm like, well, yes, but we're a stronger family now. A book has come out of it, and we can help other people fight their tragedies, their triumphs, as well, and show them that anything is possible, no matter what your hardships are. You can find faith and smile.
Yeah, I totally understand. And Suzanne, it's not easy to talk about such kind of harsh realities in your life, because it takes a lot of time. It needs a lot of courage to tell people what you are going through. So please tell the audience that when did this accident happen? How did you manage each and everything? Have you ever been through any kind of things like, what is the best way of seeking motivation in your time of adversity?
Okay, so I sort of didn't catch the end of the question there. I got the first bit. Could you just say it again?
Okay,
sorry.
Okay. So when you've been through any kind of accident or incident in your life, you suddenly go, some kind of chronic depression, and everything seems like it's not okay. But what's the best way of seeking motivation in your time of adversity when everything is not perfect?
I think the best mode is I was very blessed to have help. I actually lived in a hospital for 6 years after my accident. People think, you've been in hospital for 6 years. No, I lived inside hospital for 6 years because of my brain injuries and because of my mental health issues. Without the support of mental health professionals, doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, carers, and my family, I would not be alive today. So I have had multiple suicide attempts because of my brain injuries and my mental health problems, all of which I'm cleared of now. I don't get treated for any mental health issues now. I don't take any medication. I don't have to see a psychiatrist, and I'm back at full capacity. So I would say to look for help. When people say you need help, after they've said it for a couple of years, quite possibly you do need some help, but you still have to have your own voice. So you have to be guided through, and you have to be embraced, and you should never be threatened or over-dominated or anything like that. So I would say mental health and guardianship was one of the best things that ever happened to me. If my family had not taken guardianship over me, I would not have realised I was mentally ill, because I had to fight them in court to win back my independence. So that's how I realised I was mentally unwell, when the government said, no, you're not well, Suzanne. You have to fight in court to prove you are. And so I was, so yes, it's been a vicious sort of battle in some regards, but it's had beautiful outcomes, and I get to tell other people this story and hopefully help other people from preventing them to get to the guardianship stage where they can say, okay, we don't want to go through what Suzanne went through, so maybe I might ask for help so I don't have to go through guardianship, because it's not a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's important. And in my personal experience, I also believe that motivation comes from the most profound sense of believing who you are and who you want to be. So how do you feel about your life in the wheelchair? What's the difference between pre and post accident? What did you learn from that experience?
Before my accident, I was very fragile, and I was a bit of a shut-in. I was a full-time artist. I do have a double degree in business. Early on in my career, I was a marketing manager, and I had good jobs in that industry. But I was a full-time career, but I was a bit of a shut-in, and I was anorexic, and I was very delusionally, unwell. So after my accident, I honestly did not remember I was anorexic. So I woke up without anorexia. I know that's so hard to explain, that it's actually like that. I didn't realise I had it. It took a couple of years for my doctors to point out to me I do have an anorexic history, because they kept a lot of things quiet because of my brain injuries. I was trying not to be overstimulated. They were trying to keep me recovering step by step, etc. It was very stagnant, but it did work. But after my accident now, I may be on wheels, but I have a bigger, better, brighter future now as a paraplegic than I've ever had. I have more confidence than I've ever had. I've had people show faith in me that I never had. I've had people embrace me, which I didn't have much in the past. I've had more love in my life than I've ever had. So after my accident, I have a beautiful life. It's taken a long fight. 6 years in hospital is not fun. A lot of things I went through after that were not fun. But in the last couple of years, my life has come to full revolution. And I'm just so grateful to God to be alive. And I was always grateful to God I lived. But I'm so grateful that I have a voice now. And like my father said to me recently, he goes, I hate to say this, Suzanne, but I truly believe you were meant to fall off that balcony, because you now have a voice in an industry that needs strong people and strong women to stand up and stand and fight for themselves like you fought us. And so I do believe that you're on your road to recovery and you're on the road to your future now. And it's beautiful to hear that from a family that you've had to fight in court to get those words back. So it's very rewarding now that I'm on wheels. It's like I don't see my paraplegia as a disability. Sometimes people make me feel like it is. I just roll with that. I'm not bitter. I'm not sad about my accident. I'm grateful that I have this opportunity in the future. I'm grateful I'm sitting in front of you now being interviewed as an empowered woman. To me, that's an amazing stand for me to make in my life, which I could never make when I wasn't on wheels. I was too unwell. I'm strong now.
And that's beautiful. When you turn your adversity into an opportunity, it's very important, especially for women. And you are so strong, mashallah. So if I talk about myself before this incident, because I also got spinal cord injury in 2005 surgery. So after getting this disability, I also faced a lot of rejections, failures, and many other things as well. But I was an accountant. I was in love while playing with numbers. In my job, I was so happy. But later on, I felt that I'm losing the excitement of possibilities. I'm not working something, extraordinary. I'm not a change maker. So I took a decision to start my own company and to work for the betterment of similar fellows. So Suzanne, tell me, why an artist? Did you inherently know that you are an artist, or did you decide to be one?
No, I didn't. I used to do fashion sketches as I was a child. Being creative was not exactly embraced in my family. So I didn't realize I was creative, no. So I did used to draw fashion design. I didn't study art at school. I do have a double degree in a creative industry. I'm in advertising and marketing, so I do have a creative mind there. But no, just one day I decided I would be an artist. I'm that arrogant. I thought, no, I really like the life of an artist, and I'm not doing well with my physical health. I was being diagnosed with episodic ataxia at the time. I was incredibly unwell with my career. I was a senior marketing manager at the time. And I just decided I would pick up a paintbrush like my grandfather did, because he was really good at art. So surely it was in my genes too. So I just decided to become an artist. I told my husband, okay, so I'm planning to have an art career. We've got to go get me some paints and see what I can do. So I did. I don't know. It was like an epiphany, or I don't know what it was. It was Pentecostal. I don't know, or just sheer ignorance and arrogance. Because I wrote in the book that it's sheer ignorance and arrogance. But I have had a professional career as an artist. I'm not famous. I'm not rich, but I did have a career, and I do still have a career as an artist, and I love it. I love it. It's such a great expression.
Yeah, and most of the times you just, when you paint something, when you draw something, so it's all about the feelings and emotion inside you, and you're telling everything just through a canvas, just through a picture, and that's beautiful. Suzanne, this is our society's general perception that people in wheelchair are just helpless and useless. Did you face such times, and how did you manage to stay focused?
I did feel hopeless in hospital, because I was in a brain injuries mental health ward, and they didn't embrace disability. I was the only one in a wheelchair in there. I was not given any support with my disability at all. I went up 8 years later, when I got out into the community after my accident. I was still doing transfers with a hoist. I hadn't been trained. I was trained to do anything properly. It's like I had no care. I had no funding. It was ridiculous. My life was all about psychiatry. And so I had no confidence with my disability whatsoever. When I was in the community, I was asked to leave hospital after 6 years, and there was no government funding. So I was taken in by a community care housing group. They actually liquidated and got in trouble by the government and were sued. And we're in debt for $1.6 million debt. They took our funding. It wasn't a good story, but a wonderful organisation called MS Queensland, which is Multiple Sclerosis Society of Queensland, the government went to tell them my story and what I was going through, and they took me in. And So they literally have helped rebuild me. I now live fully independently. I have care available if I need it. I live in my own independent unit. I work, I trade shares, I work full time. I use my business degree. I'm totally independent unless I ask for help. But if I do need help, I get it. But yes, people have made me feel disabled for a lot, but I honestly don't feel it. If I ask people why they do it, I ask them what was the need to make me feel so little. Sometimes when I'm out shopping, if someone comes up to me and says, "What have you done to yourself?" I ask them,
That's the most weird question. Yeah.
"What makes you think I did anything to myself?" Then the other one, "So when are you going to walk again?" So I just say, "I'll walk out to the car in a minute." So what can you say?
Even if I talk about myself, during my education career, my parents felt told, don't waste your time, don't waste your money, how she could survive with disability. She's a girl and she's just a girl with a disability. But that day, I made a decision that I'll change the negative perception of the society. And it's not just in Pakistan, everywhere around the world. People with different abilities have a lot of challenges. Our society is not much aware about inclusive behavior, the way they respond, the way they talk to us. It's very important to educate them about that. A person, if he's in wheelchair or she's in wheelchair, it doesn't matter that he's just confined to a wheelchair. She has a lot of abilities. She can do each and everything. So it's a very normal question. If you have some kind of information, you can share. Otherwise, we can talk about something else. So what's the disability ratio in Australia? Do you face accessibility or employment challenges in your country as well?
We do, but it's nowhere near as bad as the rest of the world. I think Australia is quite liberated, which is a wonderful situation for me. And I truly feel for other countries around the world that don't have that courtesy extended to them. And I do hope that with having my voice today, even saying, yes, in Australia, we do expect more of the rest of the world to stand up and have like NDIS funding, because people with disabilities should be treated equally and should be given the chance to shine again, particularly after accidents or fighting a lifelong disease of any disability. People should always be embraced by their governments and they should always be treated with equality. So in Australia, it's easier to get a job. I would say I do get approached for work myself. I do get offered work, but I do also work for myself. And my book is my baby. I'm hoping that my book will provide a future for me to have a voice, and to have a voice not just in Australia. I'm hoping it will provide a voice once people read some of the stuff that really did go down in my life, some of the scary stuff, and go, well, why is she smiling? It's like, well, I'm grateful to be alive. And you're listening to me and you're going to help someone else, aren't you? It's like, that's the way it works. It's like it's a chain reaction. For example, you coming to me with and actually saying, Suzanne, we'd like to interview you. We see you as inspirational. To me, that is so flattering that you can see my story and see potential in it, that it might help someone else embrace their own disability, their own pain, or for someone in their family to recognise they're not treating them with enough equality. Anything that goes within the realm of disability and disabled life, we should be treated as able-bodied life as well, with no boundaries whatsoever. Like, we have doctors in Australia in wheelchairs.
Okay.
It's amazing. We have such a liberal approach now coming into the new centuries. It's amazing. So it's lovely to see, particularly since the Commonwealth Games, I think, in Australia, where the Commonwealth para athletes were allowed on the same domain at competing on the same centre stage. In Australia, I think that has just profoundly changed our lifestyle, just profoundly. To this day, people are being recruited for the commercials. We're seen everywhere in wheelchairs with disabilities, amputees, everywhere. People, it's like we're just everyone now. It's not a disability. It's great. Sorry if I get a bit tongue-tied on that, because I'm a bit emotional about it, because it's so powerful to see in Australia, and to hopefully more in the rest of the world, as we all try and work together to see the changes that are coming through. And I do hope that having a voice can help at least one person in my life as well.
Yeah, and that's very important, because we learn from each other experiences. And it's very important to educate the societies, families, and everyone. So in Pakistan, we have a lot of accessibility challenges because majority of the population is unable to get such kind of opportunities. They are unable to move from one place to another. But still, through my organization, and there are many other people with different abilities who are doing extraordinary work in this field. So Suzanne, how do you manage yourself in wheelchair? Share some tips and techniques, for instance, shifting techniques, changing your dressing, etc. And how did you learn that? Are you fully independent now?
I get help sliding my shower board under my body when I shower, but that's only because I had surgery that removed some of my area there, and it's all very fragile and it can tear. I know that sounds disgusting, but I'm actually independent, so I can do my transfers myself. But the physical, there are some health problems I have because of other diseases I have that interfere. They're not a disability, they're a neuromuscular disease, and they do cause other problems. So I do my transfers myself. I got sent back to using a slider board about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, because I have advanced bone disease. So I'm not allowed to weight bear on my bones for that reason. Even though I can do transfers without the board and without anything, I do have to use the slider board in case I break a bone, because I broke my leg doing it last time and my bones are very porous. So I do have some quite serious health problems that I don't really talk much about, which also impact my lifestyle, which is another reason why I get a bit of help. It's not so much my disability, it's because I have some very serious physical health problems that cause me complications. So I do my transfers. I get help with my shower. I get into my shower chair. I shower myself completely. I dress myself. I get help putting my compression stockings on in the morning, because there are carers available where I live that I do get about half an hour to an hour of care in the morning, so I can help get my bed made and get ready for the work day and make sure I'm showered. And when I come back, the floors have been swept. So I know some disabled people look at me and go, "Oh my God, you're so spoilt." It's like, yes, I am a bit spoilt with some of the care I get. So I don't milk it, and I'm very independent, but yes, I do get a bit of care. I do run my own home. I mostly use a manual wheelchair. I prefer to be manual as much as I can. I do, however, have electric wheels for power assist, and I do also have an electric wheelchair. I know that's very small, and I'm very grateful that my government actually does provide them for us in Australia. So we're very spoilt with funding compared to the rest of the world. So it's something that I feel very embarrassed about it when I'm talking to, for example, I've got a lot of Indian followers and Indian friends online. I have some wonderful, they're like family to me. They're just amazing. And so I've got some very dear friendships, and I feel like my funding I get from my government is so excessive compared to what you don't get. And I hope that's not politically incorrect to say that. But so I do wish that we could do more for India, for your disability services, and I wish that our government would somehow do something. It would be amazing, but that's just my personal opinion. So, but I do my transfers. I do all my cooking. I do all my cleaning, nearly all my cleaning. I don't mop my floors or sweep my floors. I do get them mopped and swept. I probably could do them. I choose not to.
I'm feeling like that. I'm talking to Rumela because I use most of the things at home. Like I can do everything. I can bake. I can cook as well.
It's very good.
Important, Suzanne, that it's very important to be independent, because it's the basic need. After accepting your disability, it's very important to know the way of living, the way of the way you can deal with yourself. It's very important, because shifting techniques, each and everything is very important with your disability. It's a permanent lifestyle, So if we can't cope with the situation, we will feel more burden, and we will feel more depressed.
The one thing I feel truly blessed about as a paraplegic and from my accident is that I take joy in simple pleasures now. I'm so easily amused, so easily pleased. I'm so proud of myself for doing my shopping. I'm like, I've got my groceries home, good on me. It's like, and before that, I would never have considered it. Now I'm like, look at me rocking it. I'm good at this. Wow. On my wheels, no, I don't need help. So so little things make me so happy, and people say, "Why are you smiling?" It's like, well, I didn't need you to help me with that, did I? It's like 7 years ago I couldn't do that, and like 12 years ago, before my accident, I couldn't even comprehend that I would be so independent and so happy to wake up every morning and be mentally and physically empowered and well, and to be emotionally well. I wasn't emotionally well. So now I have a future, and the most beautiful thing is that I'm grateful. I am truly grateful to God I live, and I don't mean that in a superficial way, that it's an absolute privilege I feel that I do live. But I get to see life from a new perspective, and I get to see a most incredible love in the world with people with challenges that I just never could comprehend. People inspire me. I have like 14,000 followers now, and nearly every one of them inspires me. They're people that reach out, that are fighting, are battling, that also need help. And to get social media has just taught me so much about my disability, about how I shouldn't let it hold me back, how I should not let it stop me, how it shouldn't be an obstacle that I can't overcome without, even if I have to ask for help, that it is something that I can embrace, because if we embrace ourselves, the world will embrace us back.
Yes, that's very important. And I also believe that first we have to love ourselves, because it's very important before starting anything. Yeah. So if you could explain, Suzanne, in just one word, what would be that?
What would be that? Well, explain what my life is as a disabled person in one word.
No, your whole personality just in one word.
My personality.
That for me, Suzanne is just beautiful.
Thank you. Well, in one word.
And very strong. I have a lot of words for you, because you are so strong, inspirational, very talented. You're a writer, you're an artist and everything, but just one word which could clearly explain your personality, what you think about yourself, just in one word.
Peaceful.
Peaceful.
Yeah. Peaceful. Yeah.
It looks very, very beautiful.
That's my life. That's my life now. Peaceful.
So, Suzanne, tell me something about your books. What inspired you to start writing about your personal journey and experiences? And I have watched you most of the time giving reviews about your book on the Instagram stories as well. So tell our audience about your books, how they can learn from your experiences.
Okay. I started writing my book 25 years ago. As I'm a copywriter, so I'm a trained copywriter. And one of my university lecturers said, Suzanne, you're too wordy in your copywriting. You need to cut it back. You need to learn to control yourself and cut your words back. So he said, practice poetry with your copywriting technique. So use the AIDA formula, attention, interest, desire, action, and actually copyright with the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid, and write poetry. So I used to come up with a concept every day and then sell it. So it would be a thought in my head or an emotion I was having, anything. It wasn't planned to be a book, which meant it was very raw. It was very real, and there was no holds barred. So it was the honest truth coming out of me. There are now 2 whole sections of my book with all of that in it. The poetry are actually in there, showing the raw pain of my brain and of my life, showing exactly what it was really like and how emotionally unstable I truly was. So my book has come about through the poetry, and as an artist, I ditched my pen. I stopped writing poetry. I picked up a paintbrush, and then I started as a career as an artist. I had 4 solo exhibitions. So I was very blessed to be embraced by the artistic community as well. I'm still quite naive in my techniques. I'm not trained, but I'm very grateful that I sell. My work does tend to sell, so I'm lucky. But the book came together when I was in hospital, and everyone started saying to me after a couple of years of living in hospital, you really need to tell your story, Suzanne. You need to tell your story, and you need to find your voice, because if you don't find your voice, you will never get out from underneath guardianship. You'll never become mentally or physically well. You will never be released from psychiatric care unless you find your voice, tell your story, find your integrity, and fight for your life. So my book is about doing that. And it's about showing you just how unwell I truly was and exactly how scary it was, and that you can overcome that. And if you can read see yourself in any of my situations, if you read my poetry and you feel your heart racing and you feel, I do feel like this, maybe I do need help too. I want people to see themselves as either needing help or maybe find someone or know someone who does need help and actually extend that gracious hand and help them and find them help. And to find the truth in yourself that if you do need help, have the courage and the strength to ask for it, because your life is worth it. No matter what, your life is worth it and you are worth it.
Beautiful. And that's very, very powerful. Would you like to give a message to all the women out there who are living with different abilities despite many challenges? And as International Women's Day is also approaching us, so I just need a very powerful message from your side.
Okay. Disability is an ability to change people's perceptions. It's a chance to show you shine so bright where they can't. And it's a chance to show the world that you're needed and you should be loved because you are equal.
Beautiful. And that's very important to tell people that we are an example for many people out there who are living with despite many challenges. We are blessed to have a lot of blessings around us. We have a strong community, and people like you are very, very inspirational, not for me, but for such kind of people who are just looking for a person in their time of adversity. So Suzanne, I'm just speechless. Seriously, I just heard about your story, and I was just thinking that it's very difficult to recover from such things when you got brain injury and you forget each and everything, and your family, broken family and everything. You lost your movement in your legs. It's not easy. It's really not easy to let things go. But if I'm talking to a person right now, it's very different. It's very beautiful inside out, and it's very, very strong. Now you have your different lifestyle, and it's very important to educate people that life doesn't end on a point. You can restart, you can happy again. Thank you so much for joining us. I would love to have you with SMT as a family, because I know people like you are very, very important to have with ourselves, because I want to tell people that there are some kind of people who are bringing hope and positivity in our lives. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much for extending this to me as well. I really appreciate that you see inspiration in me too. And you're inspirational and you're amazing the way you are. You achieve so much and you shine a light on challenges that people don't see in the real world because they turn a blind eye. Challenges that should always be met and adjusted to equality. So well done. You're an amazing woman. You're an amazing woman.
Thank you. Stay connected, stay my friend, and stay lovely as well. Thank you so much. And I would love to conclude my conversation with a special message to all the women out there, especially for girls and women. In my personal experience, women are so strong creature in this universe. And she's who births half of our society and raises great children. So never allow anyone to belittle your worth. Be strong, be happy, and love yourself. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.